Welcome to the webinar of LEAP Agri that we will present for the Call of Proposals 2017. I am Cora Govers from the Netherlands Organization of Scientific Research. We work together as a team to set up the call secretariat, and I will now introduce you to my colleagues. First, the ones from my own organization.
Hello, my name is Monica Brasser.
Hello, my name is Miriam de Jonge.
Monica and Miriam will answer your questions that you will pose via chat and the email. The next colleague from South Africa, Prudence.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Prudence Makura, and I work together with Mr. Melusile Dwaba, and together we represent the National Research Foundation of South Africa.
And Prudence will later on tell you about all the eligibility criteria and how to deal with that. Now I turn to my colleague from Germany, Stefan.
Hello everybody and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Stefan Hafner. I'm from the German Aerospace Center Project Management Agency, DLR-PT is the abbreviation. We are serving the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research. We, that's me, and it's Valerie Anton, who unfortunately could not be here. Thank you.
And Stefan will later on in the presentation explain about the submission tool and how to deal with that. Before I start my part of the presentation, I would like to point out that you can chat with us and you can also email with us. And we will try to answer your questions. The main questions we will also turn to at the end of all the presentations to kind of answer them as much as possible. What will this webinar be about? We will explain the call, the procedures and the submission tool. We also would like to point out that there are frequently asked questions available on the LEAP Agri website that you can turn to. These concern the general questions that you can also turn to the call secretariat that was presented to you just now. For your country-specific questions, especially on the budget and the requirements for that, please ask your country funder. This is also available on the LEAP Agri website. This webinar as well will be filmed and so that you can look back at it at a later stage. So now I invite you to chat with us. The presentations itself will focus on the call, on the evaluation of the proposals, on the eligibility criteria and national regulations, on the online submission tool PT outline, and briefly on the timeline. This call for preliminary proposals is an initiative between African and European countries. It is co-funded by the funders from these countries as well as by the European Commission. As such, it is a co-fund in the framework of Horizon 2020. The call and the way it focuses relates to the EU-Africa high-level policy dialogue on science, technology and innovation. And the first topic that was chosen for this collaboration was food and nutrition security. The participants in the call are from several African and European countries that I will not mention all of them together to you. You can look at it and as well you can turn to our website to consult that. For some countries there's more than one organization joining the call. For other countries it is one organization. What is the aim of our call? What do we want to reach? We would first of all like to improve food systems and nutrition both in Africa and Europe. Not only to do research, but also to develop practical solutions. This way we hope to improve the agricultural sector and the African population's food security, as well as looking how that can be of benefit for Europe. The The other main aim of the call is to enhance the partnership between the African Union and the European Union on food and nutrition security and sustainable agriculture. To this end, not only the call itself and the projects coming out of it are important, but there will also be a lot of activities around the research to enhance this partnership for now and to the future. We ask you as applicants to look at target groups who are actors in agriculture production, food processing and trade. And moreover, we also appreciate a gender approach and attention for youth as part of your research. What are the more specific objectives of the call? This is to improve local nutrition in a sustainable way by using system-oriented approaches and thereby solving complex economic, ecological and social challenges. We don't expect you to just do research. We also would like to have that research to contribute to impact and uptake, so that solutions and evidence for policy change can come out of the research of LEAP Agri. Scalability of research and innovation is therefore very important, both on national, regional and local scales. In a more general way, the objective of the call is to contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. The funding available is a total of 27.6 million euros. A part of it, 18.5, is contributed by the funders from all the countries shown before, and there is a top-up from the EU of 8.1 million euro. Each project can ask between 300,000 and 1.5 million euro. And how that will operate in terms of budget and eligibility will be shown later in this presentation, because there are general and national regulations on how to apply to the LEAP Agri. A part of the funding we will reserve for a top-up of projects that they can apply for in month 12 to work more on upscaling on those projects who are most promising. The foci of the call are related to the high policy dialogue between the AU and the EU. They relate to sustainable agricultural production intensification, to population nutrition and health, and to access to food and markets and trade. What we look for is not just a foci on one of these subjects, but to really work from a food system perspective. That means to take a broad vision and incorporate the whole context of the subjects you are going to deal with. And we also invite you to not choose one focus, but to look at whether two or more foci are more useful for what you intend to do and reach. To go a little bit deeper on the impact on the research and innovation, we will ask you to write a theory of change with an impact pathway and to develop knowledge sharing and research uptake to support that impact pathway. This may sound a bit complicated, but in the next slides we will go more into detail about what this means. And you can of course always contact us in case you have questions about this. The knowledge sharing and research uptake is subdivided in stakeholder engagement, capacity development, communication and scientific output. And how this will relate to the theory of change and impact pathway, I will turn to now. A theory of change actually is an explanation of what you intend to do during your research and how you think it will lead to impact. The theory of change is therefore related to your whole project. It's not a separate part from it. You are going to look at what problem area would I want to address, what are its causes, and what are the underlying knowledge-related causes. And from that, you will try to develop an analysis, research questions, and a research design. Those in turn will feed into the output you are aiming at, the outcome, and the impact. And I will come back to this output, outcome, impact in the next slide. Because to sum it all up, this whole impacts pathway is the output part is what we expect you as a project to deal with. Those are your activities, your insights. But also we like you through these activities to contribute to outcome, even though you are not directly responsible for the outcome itself, because that is something to be done by others. You are asked to set the scene so that outcome is possible by engaging with key stakeholders. On top of that, there is impact, and although we know that may appear years after your project is closed, it's already helpful if you envision that impact and already work towards it. And in that sense, working with stakeholders is intended for the possibility of your research to become sustainable and for the results to be used after your project will have stopped. This means we have a particular definition of what output, outcome, and impact means. Output relates to your direct and immediate results. And these are not only scientific results, but these can also be activities related to communication, to capacity development, and to stakeholder engagement. Research outcome relates to changes in behaviors, relationships, actions, and activities of others, of your stakeholders, and how you can influence them to change, to make those changes. Research impact is more about conditions, and these conditions is what you are aiming at, what you would like to see happening. After this brief introduction on how to deal with the call and what it means for impact, I will now briefly explain what the evaluation procedure is after you have submitted a proposal. A proposal will be checked twice. Once for its general eligibility, and this will be done by the people you have just met at the start of the webinar and their colleagues. And the second eligibility check is by your own funder, the funder you are applying to. They will check the national regulations and whether you comply with them. The call secretariat will look at a more general criteria. You will be given a brief opportunity to comply to requirements in case there are small changes and mistakes in your proposal. After that, you will hear from the call secretariat where your proposal is eligible and therefore included in the procedure or not. After this, the review process will start with an international review panel with a meeting in South Africa in September 2017. And after this meeting of the panel, you will hear whether you are invited to submit a full proposal. The selection procedure criteria for preliminary proposals are key for you to address in your proposal. What are we going to look at? Is the consortium appropriate to tackle the research or innovation question you propose? What is the relevance or innovativeness of the approach that you describe in your proposal? How does your research answer or address the call foci? How are you going to deal with these subjects? And the last one is the knowledge sharing and research uptake approach adequate, and especially adequate to address the impact you envision? After that, after you have received an invitation to submit a full proposal, just to tell you briefly, the Joint Call Secretariat will provide feedback to all consortium leaders for all proposals, and the call for full proposals will be announced in September 2017 after that feedback has been given. Submission of a full proposal can only be done by those invited, and the deadline will be mid-December 2017, but we will come with a much more precise deadline at a later stage. Now I would like to invite my colleague Prudence to explain to you the eligibility criteria on a general way and for the national level. Please, Prudence, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Cora. As Cora has indicated, there are two types of eligibility criteria. There are general eligibility criteria for the call, which are the responsibility of the call secretariat, and there are individual eligibility criteria that have been articulated by each funder who is a partner in Agri. Now, I would like to start with the general eligibility criteria. But before I do that, I want you all to understand that the two go hand in hand. They are interlinked. So as you look at the general eligibility criteria, you need to read that together with the individual eligibility criteria from your funder. Okay, to start the general eligibility criteria, let's look at the composition of the consortium. Now, for the consortium to be eligible in the Agri call, you need to have 4 consortium partners. Now, the 4 consortium partners must come from 4 different countries. For example, if you have 4 partners from 4 different institutions representing 3 countries, the proposal will be ineligible. So, you need to have 4 different countries, 2 countries from African continent and 2 countries from the Europe side. And also important to notice that even though it's 4 consortium partners, there are associated partners that are allowed to be a partner in a proposal. I will get to who we classify as an associated partner at a later stage. Also important to note is that the 4 consortium partners amongst themselves must elect what we call a consortium project coordinator. Now, that is a very important role, and the person serves as the leader for the entire consortium. Also important to note is that the consortium must be balanced. And what do you mean by that? We mean that there must be equal distribution of activities, and there must be evenness of the budget. Where there are differences, which in some cases there will be, all we require is a justification of the unevenness in the consortium. Now, the role of the consortium project coordinator is a very important role. Now, this is the person who will take the overall lead of the project, the person who will interface with us as the call secretariat, and the person who will also be a link between us and the other consortium partners. Now, this person also is responsible for the entire reporting, for the coherence between partners, and for the intellectual agenda of the entire project. And we require that the consortium project coordinator should be a very experienced researcher, a very senior experienced researcher, and who is also experienced in managing this kind of complex projects. Now, the responsibilities of the project, the consortium project partners, is to serve as a lead for their own aspect of the project in their own countries. If we have For example, if we have 4 project partners from 4 different countries, each partner is responsible for their aspect of the project activities in their own country. And the project consortium leader must put that together to report to the call secretariat. Over and above this, we understand that researchers do not work alone. So the consortium project partners can bring along what we call the project members or the team members. Also, we also allow for the involvement of what we call the consortium associated partners. But what is very important about the consortium associated partners is the fact that they will not be eligible for funding in the project. And as to who can serve as a consortium associated partner, this must be read in conjunction with the individual eligibility criteria from each funder. I will give an example. I will give South Africa as an example. From the South African side, for example, a researcher from a publicly funded research institution or science council can serve as a consortium partner. But an individual from a private sector is not allowed to be a consortium partner, but can be an associated partner, which means they will be responsible for their own financing in the project. Also, it is very important that if you have consortium associated partners in your project, you also indicate the kind of contribution and the value add of these partners in your project. This contribution can be financial, it can be in kind. All we need is a justification, especially because there is no limitation as to the number of consortium partners you can have, associated partners you can have in a project. There are other possible partners that are allowed, and this differs from one funding agency to another. So please consult the individual eligibility criteria to see what these additional project partners can be. Okay. A project partner can play multiple roles, but there are rules insofar as this is concerned. For example, one partner is allowed to act as a consortium project coordinator, which means take the lead of the entire project in one proposal, and can at the same time be a project partner in another project. But what is important to note is that you cannot have project partners, 4 project partners, and on top of the 4 leading project partners, have another individual who will serve as a consortium project coordinator. Consortium project coordinator must come from the 4 lead partners. The consortium agreement. Now, this also it differs from one funding agency to another. There are those funders who request that a consortium must actually sign a consortium agreement, and there are those funders that do not necessarily need this. And also what is important to note is that the submission is also different according to different funders. All the project must submit through the PT outline, which Stefan will talk about right now. But some funders require that individuals submit directly to them. The consortium budget. Cora earlier spoke about the consortium budget. And as she explained, the budget of the entire project must be between 300,000 euro or 1.5 million euro, and the duration of the project should not be less than 36 months. However, this must be read in conjunction with the individual eligibility criteria, especially because if you look at that document, you have different funders stipulating how much is available per project from their side and for what activities. So it is very important that when you put your budget together and your activities together, you look at each other's individual eligibility criteria. Now, I would like to quickly touch on the individual eligibility criteria and the funding regulation per funder. If you go to the Agri website, you will see that there is a document that we refer to, which we entitled the Individual Eligibility Criteria and Funding Regulations. Now, that document has about 8 different sections on it. And it's a very long document, but if you look at it, all you need to concern yourself with is the eligibility criteria for your funder. So the document starts with a country, the name of the country, and a funder will be listed underneath the country. Now, this is very important because in some countries, we do not have a single funder. There are countries where we have more than one funder. There are countries where it's just a single funder. So you need to make sure that you read the right section for your country. Also, you will have a section there which addresses the issue of who can apply for that specific funder. Now, this is, like I said, different from one funder to another. For example, in South Africa, a researcher from a publicly funded institution can serve as a consortium partner, but a person from a private entity cannot or is not allowed to submit a proposal. So you need to read from your country and from your funder who is eligible. The next session deals with the costs that are eligible for funding. Now, this has to do with the activities that can be covered. This is very important because this addresses what you can do with the funds that are available from your side. Some of the funders cover things like salaries, things like bursaries. Some of the funders do not cover those kind of things. So as you put your project together, you need to go through each other's eligibility criteria and make sure that what you request funding for is something that can actually be covered under your funder. The third section there deals with the actual costs. Now, we only provide the upper funding limit. There is no minimum amount. And this differs also from one funder to another, but you must at least ensure that there is evenness in your budget. There is also a section that deals with additional requirements. Now, these are those requirements that are not listed anywhere else in this document. Things like the type of attachments that you need to put together for your own funder or that are required by your own funder. So you need to look at that because once the call secretariat have looked at the general eligibility, your funder will look at their own eligibility criteria. And if you did not include those kind of documents that they requested in their own individual eligibility, then you will be ineligible. We also indicated clearly contact details per funder. So if you contact us as the call secretariat, we'll be able to respond to those generic questions about the Agri call. But if there are specific issues, you need to look at who you need to contact from your own funder. We will have a telephone number there, and then we'll have an email address. Also, some of the funders indicated the links of websites or policies or regulation that you need to read to be able to apply for this call. So we'll advise you that you must look and download all those documents and read them so that you will be eligible to apply for this call. Thank you very much, Cora.
Thank you, Prudence, for your explanation of the general and national eligibility criteria. It means that applicants have to deal with two processes. One is their own national process. Nevertheless, we expect you to work together on the project and make it one project proposal. How to deal with that submission of the proposal and what that means for both you as consortium partners and for the proposal itself is now up to my colleague Stefan.
Thank you very much, Cora. Yes, I would like to introduce you to the online submission system PT Outline. PT Outline is the title of an online system for managing calls for proposals. So it's for you, it's for the assessment of the proposals and the support for funding decision processes. So this is the access for you to inform the funders about your projects. In this slide, you will find, once again, the link within the internet to join PT Outline. There you will generate your password, and the consortium project coordinator will share this password with all his partners or her partners, and then you can work in that system. What you see here in this slide is just the first entrance of PT Outline. It is highlighted here with these red cells. You will find here once again the link to the Agri website with all call information. You will find always during your application process to the left side on the left column the contact details to us from the call secretariat, as well as a contact to the technical support. So in case you have any technical problems, call the technical support or call us from the call secretariat. We will support you in your submission. So what to do next? Create a proposal. And you see on the bottom left there's a blue button. Press it and then you start creating your proposal. Once this has been done, you will see that this is a screenshot of the PT outline. At that stage, you will see there 6 sections on the left. It's highlighted here with a red cell. First, you will get an overview of the whole call. Then there are following 5 sections numbered with Roman numbers. The first section is about general information. The second is for the consortium project coordinator, where you as a project coordinator will give the informations to the funders. In the third section, the project partners will add their information about their work in the project. And in the fourth section, a project description could be uploaded by you, which will be a PDF. I will come later to that, and other uploads. And in the fifth section, Roman number 5, you will have a final check on what you stated, which information you gave, and then you will submit your proposal. So I will quickly went through those sections with you now. The first section, the general information. First, and as Prudence has explained that already, please check the national eligibility criteria and funding regulations. Read them carefully, as well as the introduction in this part of PT Outline, the general information. Please note that the information that you are given that will be registered in PT Outline are valid, which means these are the information the funders will assess your proposal. The requested information here at that stage in the section General Information is give us the project title and the acronym for the project. You can state keywords, maximum 5 keywords, just to describe in which field your project will work. As Cora already stated, there are 3 foci in that call: sustainable intensification of agriculture, agriculture and food systems for nutrition, and expansion and improvement of agricultural markets and trade. You can select all of those 3 foci, or you can select 1 or 2, it's up to you. This has to be stated under Roman 1, General Information. Furthermore, the duration of the project, maximum 36 months, could be stated there. Which countries are participating in the project could be stated, as well as you should kindly formulate an abstract for a broader audience, which means not only for the funders, but maybe later on to inform a public what is your project about. It is limited, so therefore it's written here already. Please, it's a broad abstract that you should give here. In the second section, which is for the consortium project coordinator, first you will be asked standard for your standard address data, and kindly state which funding body are you applying to. So which country and which institution, and you will find that in the eligibility criteria and funding regulations that Prudence presented. Then you will be asked to give the information about the budget, but just the budget for the consortium project coordinator. So you kindly state the employment costs the research costs, which could be, example given, the costs for fieldwork equipment or consumables. Travel and meeting costs should be stated there for conferences or project meetings. Also, costs for the LEAP Agri kickoff meeting, a midterm meeting, and a final meeting should be stated there. Costs for knowledge sharing and research uptake costs. Overhead costs, if applicable, once again, the eligibility criteria and funding regulations are crucial. Please check them properly. Other costs, for example, for subcontracting could be stated there. Only for the consortium project coordinator will follow at that stage a checklist where the project coordinator will state whether the general conditions are fulfilled. Is the composition of the consortium partners complete? So do you have a minimum 4 eligible research partners, from 2 from each continent, and are they eligible? Coming to the project partners under Roman 3, you will be also requested for the information that the consortium project coordinator has given, means the standard address data, the type of entity you are representing. So are you, example, given a private partner for profit, for example, a small and medium enterprise, a company, or are you a private partner not for profit, which could be, for example, an NGO? Are you from the policy arena, from the academia arena, or others? Please state that at that stage. And once again, to which funding body are you applying to? With regard to the budget, and I can repeat that here once again, this is the same like for the consortium project coordinator, the employment costs, the research costs, travel and meeting costs, LEAP Agri kickoff meeting costs, midterm and final meetings, the overheads, if applicable, and other costs, if needed, like subcontracting. In section number 4, this section is for the upload of the project description, and you will find attached in PT Outline a template for that. So this is a document you might write in Word. At the end, you will transfer it into the PDF format. And you can upload that then in this section. Let me just come briefly to the structure of the project description. We would like to show you here 6 headlines which are relevant. The first, what is the aim of the project? Please describe that. You will have a maximum of 400 words to describe that, including the relation to the chosen focus or foci. Secondly, the description of the project itself, maximum 1,000 words, please. Then the description of the consortium and linkages between the partners. You will have 400 words for that. What is the expected impact of project? For that you will have 400 words, so please be focused and very precisely short and smart. Then you have to state the date of this proposal and include the signature of the coordinator and the other consortium partners. And with the attachments, you will inform the funders with the curriculum vitae of your partners, a brief CV for each consortium partner, please, with maximum half a page, not more. And as a second annex, if you like, a clarification of the budget. If this is not needed, leave that out. Please keep it smart, short, and simple. The last section, section number 5, is about the final check and the submission of your proposal. The preview of the data sheet could be downloaded here. So all the information that you stated under Roman 2, the consortium project coordinator, and under Roman 3 of the project partners will be displayed in this data sheet. So this is different from the project description that you will upload as a PDF. If you press there the button Submit Now, this is a binding submission. And after this binding submission, further changes are not possible. So please discuss within your consortium whether your proposal has been finalized or not, and then press that button, and then you have uploaded your binding submission. In case you would like to exclude a potential reviewer, you can inform us, the call secretariat. The email address is again displayed here. Please be aware that only a maximum of 5 reviewers could be excluded. The deadline of submission is also stated, which is the 15th of June at 2 o'clock. And Leap Agri will not once again accept delayed proposal for the cause that electronic submission will fail just before the deadline. That's from the side of the online submission tool. Thank you very much for your attention. I would like to hand over once again to Cora, please.
Thank you, Stefan, for explaining the PT outline submission tool. And once again, if you have any questions, you can ask the call secretariat or the technical assistance that is available when you open the PT outline system. I will now have the last part of the presentation, the Leap Agri timeline. Already was mentioned that there is a very strict timeline on the 15th of June, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Central European time. So that is a very strict one. The PT outline system will simply close. The meeting of the panel for assessing and ranking your proposals is in September 2017. And in the beginning of October, we will provide feedback to all the applicants and also invite those who are asked to submit a full proposal with a deadline of mid-December 2017. And we will come back with a precise deadline for that. After receiving the full proposals, they will again be checked for eligibility both nationally and generally, and then will be sent to the reviewers during January, February 2018. In March, you will have the opportunity for a rebuttal, which means that you will receive all the review reports, and you will then, it will then be able for you to write a small report as a reaction to those review reports. A next step in the procedure is again the panel meeting, after which a funding decision will be taken by the group of funders in April 2018. After this funding decision, you will still need to deal with your local funder, your national funder, for any regulations, resubmission, or any other issues, because they are the ones who will provide you with the grant. So each project will deal with at least 4 different grants. The starting date of the project should be no later than August 2018, and with 3 years, this means the deadline is August 2021. And as we have to comply with EC rules, there is no extension possible here. Now we come to the last part of our presentation, and that is the questions that have been received during the chat. So I will invite Monica to pose these questions, and she will ask one of us to come forward and answer them.
Cora, you may stay here because the first questions are for you. I would like to thank everyone who sent in questions via the chat and also via email. First questions are for Cora. So some people were asking where they could find more information about how to compose a good impact pathway and theory of change, how this works. You mentioned it quickly, but maybe you can go in a little bit more detail about that part.
It is not an easy part. We realize that, and that is why we will shortly provide you with some more background information on our website on how to deal with this impact pathway and research uptake. For your preliminary proposal, you still are not asked for a very elaborate impact pathway. You will be asked to fill in one page. It is inside the PT outline, and in that page you will be asked for your output and outcome to mention your activities, and you will be asked for indicators for output and outcome level, not for impact level in your preliminary proposal. And next to this, you will be asked for activities of knowledge sharing and research uptake. As I mentioned, these are the activities you intend to do to engage stakeholders in your research, how you are going to deal with them. For instance, if you are dealing with farmers and traders, what will you do with them? How will you give them a role in your project right from the start? Because that is the idea. What capacity building do you envision? And this could be capacity building on the level of students, but it can also be on the level of farmers, on the level of groups you would be working with that you want to deal with nutrition issues, for instance. If you are dealing with that, how to involve those groups. And what is your communication plan? What activities will you undertake to communicate, not only just to communicate your research, but also to involve people in your research? This knowledge sharing and research uptake should support the impact pathway you envision. This means, what output do I want to have? And to mention an example, you can have a scientific article as output, but you could also have a webinar as output to use for trainings. As output, you could also have a film or a radio. You can have policy briefs. You can have meetings with policymakers. Those are all the kinds of output activities that you can envision. And the outcome level should look at what do you want to reach, who do you want to reach out to, so that they will incorporate the findings of your research, how they will deal with the outcomes of your research. And the impact is actually your dream. What do you want? What do you envision in the future? Where do you want to work towards to? So to sum it all up, we realize this is quite a complicated process, so we will provide you with some more background information on the website within 2 weeks.
Thank you. And another question that has been asked is whether international research organizations can take part in LEAP Agri and how this would work, for example, CGIAR institutes.
If I'm correct, obviously they are very welcome to join the projects. Very welcome. We would really appreciate international organizations. At this stage, the funding is a bit complicated. I think they can be added as associated partners, Prudence, if I'm correct. But I know that there are perhaps outside funders that may finance associated partners. We are looking into that right now. We just received an email last week about a possible World Bank connection, but as this is very recent development, we were unable to really already mention how we can deal with it. But you are definitely most welcome as associated partner.
Thank you, Cora. Then I would like to ask Prudence to join me here to answer a couple of questions. So, hello Prudence. Some people have been wondering if they could apply also if they're not from a country that is part of the LEAP Agri partnership.
Okay, only applicants that are from the countries that are part of the Agri partnership can actually submit proposals and will be eligible for the funding. However, you can form part of a project if you are from a country that is outside the Agri or participating countries. But this means that you can only join as an associated partner, which means that you will not be eligible for funding or to request for funding from the Agri budget, but you will have to cover your own cost of participation in the project. But you are more than welcome to join as an associated partner, and as I've indicated earlier, there is really no limit to the number of associated partners that can join a project for as long as there is justification of how this will add value to the project.
Thank you. The next question already, you already mentioned part of it just now. So I have also received the question of whether there's a maximum of people who can participate per project, either as consortium partners or as associated partners.
We only make it very clear that the consortium partners must not be less than 4 partners from 4 different countries, 2 representing the African countries, 2 representing European countries. And as I've indicated, there is absolutely no limit as to the number of associate partners that you can have in your project for as long as this will add value to your project.
Thank you. And could you also explain a little bit more what we mean when we say that a consortium has to be balanced?
Okay. A balanced consortium means that there has to be an equal distribution of tasks within the consortium. So if you are 4 partners coming together, you should indicate your roles and you should indicate how this will be of value for each partner that is involved. And also there should be like an equal distribution of finances between the 4 partners. Hence I'm saying that there are instances where we do understand that there cannot be that clear balance. And if that happens, all we require is a clear justification or a clear motivation from you as to why this is so.
Thank you, Prudence. The next set of questions is for Stefan.
Yes.
You explained quite nicely about the PT outline, how it works and what it looks like, but people are still a bit unsure how to use the PT outline and were asking where they can find more information about the system. Is there a sort of handbook or is there information online? Maybe you can say something about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Of course, we will upload this presentation, and my main message is don't worry, just join PT Outline. I think it's self-declaring. Please follow those sections as far as I have described them. It should be very clear what is the question, what are the costs, for example, what is the name of your project, the abbreviation. You will find that all in the system. Just join it, have a look at it, and in case there is any problem, just give us a call. Me in person you can call, because I'm in a very close contact with the technical support of PT Outline. So please don't worry, just join PT Outline and check it out, and if there are remaining questions, please contact us.
Thank you. And the last question is, how do people find partners to join for a consortium to submit an application in Agri?
Mm-hmm.
Do we offer sort of matchmaking, or how should people go about finding partners?
Mm-hmm. At the moment, please have a look on our website. We are on Facebook and on Twitter, and we are still in progress with that regard. We are trying to do our best to contribute, but of course it's mainly up to the research to activate your contacts, your partners. Please check our website. Please make use of your Facebook account and be linked to the Agri Facebook account. And I'm sure that we will bring the best and the relevant researchers in Africa and Europe together.
Thank you, Stefan. With this, the Q&A session closes. We have answered the most common questions that we received via chat and email so far. But of course, you can always keep sending us questions that you come across while preparing your proposal. And our contact details are listed on the slide just now. And I would like to ask Cora back up and also Prudence like up on the stage to say some final words.
Yes, we are nearing the end of our Leap Agri webinar. As already mentioned before, all the documentation is available on the Leap Agri website. There you will also find the link to the PT outline. You can, through Twitter or Facebook, ask for partners. Just pose a question, present yourself, and ask for who is interested. Any other questions you can direct at your local funder in your own country, or you can direct them to us present here through the emails mentioned right now to you. And we will try to answer them as best to our ability. We really like to thank you for your attention. We hope that we have been able to not only address you, but to also answer your main questions. And again, like Monica said, do not hesitate to contact us. As a call secretariat, we are very pleased that we had between 80 and 19 people present during the webinar. As we will upload this as a film, we hope it will be used for you also to inform others in your institutes or in other partners that would be interested in Leap Agri, so that we can inform as many people as possible about our Leap Agri call. Thank you again, and we hope to hear from you and to be able to receive your proposals. Thank you.
Thank you.